And it's rough, but it's mine. She opened a demo showing a smooth-looking interface that made real-time communication across platforms easier. Text, video, even encrypted data transfers. It was easy to use, beautiful, and strangely similar to a project his research and development team had been trying to figure out for months. This is good, he said, his voice quiet. Really good. Why haven't you shown this to someone? If you're so smart, then explain it. The billionaire CEO made fun of the waitress, but suddenly she left him speechless. What if the smartest person in the room isn't the one wearing the suit? Stay with me, because this isn't just a story about business. It's about breaking barriers, unexpected genius, and how sometimes the people we overlook are the ones who change everything. Michael Langston was a man who loved being in control. At 42, he'd built Langston Enterprises into a tech giant. Sleek devices and cutting-edge software define the digital age. His tailored suits, sharp features, and piercing blue eyes commanded boardrooms where his impatience was as legendary as his success. But tonight, control was slipping. A $2 billion merger with a rival tech firm, Synergy Solutions, depended on a 200-page contract full of legal terms that confused even his Ivy League lawyers. Deadlines were coming up fast. Competitors were watching closely, and Michael's temper was rising. He needed a break. His driver suggested a diner just blocks from the office, an old place called Rosie's, with chipped Formica tables and neon signs flickering in the window. Michael thought it was a bad idea, but agreed. He wasn't here to eat, just needed somewhere to think, away from the quiet hum of his office. Inside Rosie's, the air smelled of coffee and fried onions. The jukebox played a soft Motown tune, and the handful of customers, truck drivers, night shift nurses barely looked at the man in the $5,000 suit. Michael slid into a booth, spreading the contract across the table, his pen slashing at confusing clauses. Frustration ate at him. Indemnification protocols, fiduciary contingencies, escrow stipulations, the words blurred into nonsense. Grace Harper, 28, watched him from behind the counter. She'd been at Rosie's for 3 years, her quick hands juggling plates and pouring coffee with practiced ease. Her auburn hair was pulled into a messy bun, and her green eyes held a quiet intensity, like someone who saw more than she let on. Grace had a gift for reading people. Years of serving strangers taught her to spot exhaustion, joy, or in Michael's case, barely contained rage. She approached his booth, her sneakers squeaking on the linoleum. "Rough night?"
"Hi,"
she asked, her voice warm but not pushy as she set down a glass of water. Michael didn't look up. "You could say that." She glanced at the papers, their margins crowded with his angry notes. "Looks like a lot to handle. Want to talk it out? Sometimes saying it out loud helps." He snorted, finally meeting her gaze. "What, you're a lawyer now? Stick to pouring coffee, sweetheart." Grace's smile didn't fade, but her eyes sharpened. "Just trying to help. You look like you're wrestling a bear. It's a contract," he snapped. "Unless you've got a law degree hiding under that apron, I don't think you'd get it." She tilted her head, unfazed. "Try me. Translated into plain English. If it's so hard, maybe a fresh pair of eyes can help." Michael's laugh was cold, edged with arrogance. "You're a genius now. Fine, if you're so smart, then translate it." He shoved the contract toward her, expecting her to flinch. She didn't. Instead, she picked up the document, her fingers brushing the pages with surprising care. Grace sat across from him, scanning the contract. Michael watched, half amused, half irritated. He expected her to stumble, to hand it back with an embarrassed shrug. But Grace's brow furrowed in concentration, her lips moving slightly as she read. She pulled a notepad from her apron and jotted notes, her handwriting small and neat. "Okay," she said after a few minutes, her voice steady. "This section here, indemnification protocols. It's about who takes the blame if things go wrong. Say you're buying a car and it breaks down the next day. This clause decides if you're stuck with the repair bill or if the seller has to cover it. Your contract says Synergy Solutions wants you to take most of the risk if their tech fails after the merger." Michael blinked. That's actually not wrong. His tone was grudging, but curiosity flickered in his eyes. "Go on." She flipped to another page. "This escrow stipulation. It It's like putting money in a piggy bank that neither of you can touch until certain conditions are met. They're asking for $500 million in escrow, which is a lot. It's their safety net, but it ties up your cash flow. You could negotiate that down or add a clause to release funds in stages. Michael leaned forward, his doubt wavering. How do you know this? Grace shrugged, her smile almost playful. I listen, I read. People underestimate waitresses, but we hear everything. Business deals, breakups, you name it. Plus, I've got a thing for puzzles. He wasn't convinced, but he let her continue. Over the next hour, Grace broke down the contract's complexity with surprising clarity. She didn't just simplify, she connected. The dots, spotting risks his legal team had missed, like a clause that could let Synergy back out without penalty if Langston's stock dropped below a certain number. She suggested counter clauses, her explanations based on comparisons that made the hard stuff easier to understand. It's like signing a lease for an apartment, but leaving a loophole for the landlord to kick you out without notice. Michael's arrogance began to crack. This wasn't just a waitress with a gift for words. It was something deeper: logic, intuition, a mind that cut through noise like a blade. Who are you? He asked, half to himself. Grace hesitated, then set the contract down. Just someone who's good at figuring things out. You done making fun of me yet? He didn't answer. But his silence was answer enough. The diner emptied as midnight approached, leaving just Michael, Grace, and the hum of the jukebox. He pushed the contract aside, his curiosity now fully on her. You're not just a waitress, are you? Grace wiped the counter, her movements deliberate. I'm a lot of things, waitress, sister, daughter. Was a computer science major for a while, but life had other plans. Computer science? Michael's eyebrows shot up. Why'd you quit? Didn't quit. Had to pause. My mom got sick and my brother was struggling. Someone had to pay the bills. Her voice was matter of fact, but there was a weight behind it. Coding mostly. Keeps my brain busy. Michael leaned back, rethinking his view of her. Coding? Like what? She hesitated, then pulled out her phone. I've been working on something. An app. Grace laughed softly. Who's going to take a waitress seriously? Don't have a degree or a fancy resume. Just code I write at 2 o'clock a. After my shifts, Michael's mind raced. Langston Enterprises was losing market share to competitors with better communication tech. Grace's app could be a game changer, but more than that, her ability to think, to see through complexity, to create under pressure was something his polished executives lacked. He'd built his empire on spotting talent, but he'd almost missed it because of his own biases. You're wrong, he said finally. Someone would take you seriously. I would. Grace raised an eyebrow, skeptical. You, the guy who called me sweetheart and told me to stick to coffee? He winced. Fair point. I was a jerk, but I'm not stupid. You've got something special. Grace, let me help you build it. Resources, funding, a team, you name it. She studied him, her expression unreadable. Why should I trust you? You don't even know me. Because I know talent when I see it, he said, his voice sincere for the first time. And because you just saved my deal, let me return the favor. Over the next week, Michael couldn't shake the encounter. He finalized the Synergy deal using Grace's insights to negotiate better terms, saving his company millions. But his thoughts kept drifting to her app, her mind, her story. He returned to Rosie's, this time without a contract. Just a proposal of partnership to develop her app under Langston's umbrella. With Grace as lead developer, Grace was cautious but intrigued. She agreed. But on her terms, she'd keep her job at Rosie's until the app launched, and she wanted a say in how it was built. Michael, unused to being challenged, found himself respecting her more for it. As they worked together, Michael saw the world through Grace's eyes, a world of late-night coding sessions, of scraping by, of dreams delayed but never abandoned. She introduced him to her family, her mother, recovering but frail, her brother, a teenager with big dreams and bigger doubts. Michael, who'd long viewed success as a solo climb, began to see the strength in community, in resilience born of necessity. The app, named ConnectSphere, launched 6 months later to critical acclaim. It wasn't just a product. It was a lifeline, making communication faster and safer for businesses and individuals alike. Grace became a rising star in tech. Her story inspired others who'd been overlooked. She started a scholarship fund for working-class students, ensuring others like her could finish what she'd started. Michael, too, changed. He overhauled Langston's hiring, seeking talent in unexpected places: community colleges, small towns, diners. He never forgot the lesson Grace taught him: brilliance doesn't need a fancy background. It just needs a chance. A year later, Michael sat in Rosie's again, this time as a regular. Grace was there not as a waitress, but as a guest. Celebrating ConnectSphere's latest update, the diner was packed, the jukebox playing, and the air buzzing with possibility. Michael raised a coffee mug and a toast. "Too underestimating people," he said with a wry smile. Grace clinked her mug against his. "To proving them wrong?" As they laughed, the city outside hummed on. Unaware of the quiet revolution sparked in a diner booth, it wasn't just about an app or a deal. It was about seeing people, really seeing them, and realizing the world was bigger and brighter than any boardroom could contain.